Let's play a little game of more or less. Kimberly Martin, I'm starting with you. The Patriots, more or less than 9.5 wins.
I'm going to go less, Greeny, because they won 7 games last year, so you think conventional wisdom says they'll win more. I think they will win more, but more like 8, maybe 9. I got to see more from Cam Newton. I know they upgraded the roster, but the Cam to Mac Jones transition, I want to see that play out before I think 9.5 games.
Very interesting. Canty, I'm coming to you. Cowboys, 9.5 wins, more or less.
I'm going to say more, Greeny, and I know we say this every year about the Dallas Cowboys, how this is going to be their year. But if their defense can just improve a little bit, then I have a lot of confidence that this team is going to win the division and be in the playoffs. If you look at what Dan Quinn did when he left Seattle and inherited one of the worst defenses in the Atlanta Falcons, that defense went from worst in the league to 16th. If the Cowboys can have that kind of improvement, look out.
Not you two. RC, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, more or less 11.5 wins.
I'm going to say
who made
over
that
that.
line, Greeny?
It's got to be over that, RC. It's got to be.
RC.
Yeah, who made that line? Way more. I mean, like, way more. Like, almost double that more by the end of the season. I mean, they played 17 games. You can win 16, 15, maybe 17 of those. And then you add the playoff games. They went on the way to the Super Bowl. It might be like 20. Who made that? They just trying to lose money in Vegas now, man. Golly.
It's interesting that you should say that. Because yesterday, I had Rob Gronkowski on my radio show. Now, you heard the comments that Tom Brady made about saying he would trade 2 of his Super Bowl rings for an unbeaten season. I asked Gronk about that. Here's what he said.
I don't want to trade in any because I think there's a chance, in my life to be on a team like that. So I don't feel like I don't have to trade in any Super Bowl rings. So I see in the future that I have a chance, to be on a team like that. So I ain't trading any rings in. I just got to keep going for it.
Ryan Clark, did Rob Gronkowski just suggest he thinks the Buccaneers can go unbeaten this season?
You absolutely right, because guess what? We don't foresee Gronk trying to even play as long as Tom Brady is trying to play. So you know what he said? He said we got all 22 plus back. Because remember, they got the 22 back, and then they added some people, and Antonio Brown came back. So Rob Gronkowski said, you know what, Tom? Let's keep all the rings we've won already, because we're about to get an undefeated season right now. And it's so hard, y'all, to predict an undefeated season. But here is what I'll say. I feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will only lose games this year that they want to. That's how good, confident, and how much chemistry this team is going to have this year. To bring back all the people, for guys to not go chase money, to come back to the same place where it started, where you won it last year, the way that this team seemed to perform down the stretch, I believe that it's extremely possible. I wouldn't bet on it, but if it happened, I won't be surprised.
Is it? Wow, that's more credibility to it than I would have expected. Canty, what do you think?
Yeah, RC got to chill out on that one. There's no way that the Tampa Bay Bucks are going undefeated, even if they are bringing the band back together. There's a reason why there's only one team in the Super Bowl era that's been able to pull it off, the 1972 Dolphins. That being said, I love where this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is at. I love what Tom Brady has done in terms of changing the culture in there. I can love all of those things, but I can still acknowledge that it's going to be hard to go undefeated. And adding another regular season game to it just gives the teams around the NFL another chance to knock them off.
RC.
Excuse me. When did Chris Canty turn into Dan Graziano? When did he want to come on the show, stop all the fun with his facts and stuff? That's why nobody's ever done it since 1972 Dolphins. Last year, people were predicting the Kansas City Chiefs might do it. They just lost to the Raiders. I mean, why can't the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do it? The New England Patriots won 16 with this same quarterback. No, I would only talk this way to Chris when I was on my TVU, because obviously if we were in person, his size would probably intimidate me into being nicer. But since we are away, Chris, you need to know when you're on the show with me, logic and facts and history don't matter. We are going for the now. And in the now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are good enough to make this happen.
All right, Kmart, let me put it this way to you. Right, so there's 17 regular season games, which would give them the #1 seed, and then 3 more for the Super Bowl. So over under 19.5 wins for the Bucs. Which way do we go?
I say under. Listen, I think they could repeat as Super Bowl champions, but this whole undefeated thing, I would love to be 19 again. I would love to have a skinnier waist. I would love to know how to cook. All these things I would love, but are just not going to happen in my lifetime. This is just a thing that's not going to happen, and it's fine. They're still going to be good. They could still win the Super Bowl, but them going undefeated, it's not going to happen, RC. And I know they're probably going to hear this and be like, this girl, what is she talking about? But no, it's not going to happen.
Okay, fair enough. The likelihood of it, of course, not very high. Orlovsky has already called for the possibility of it. Gronk is talking about it. We will see where all that winds up going. Meanwhile, that's one group of Bucs that we've been talking about. Let's talk about another group of Bucs. How about the Beal spectacular fourth quarter, under 90 to play. Wizards down by 4. Westbrook, Beal, throw it down, big fella, with authority. Beal throwing it down for 2 of his 42 on the night. Next possession, Beal, Mr. Outside, as well as Mr. Inside. Knock it down to 3. We got a good game. 14 seconds to go. Milwaukee up by 2. Drew Holiday probing, stepping back. 3, no good. Brook Lopez. Oh, the offensive rebound on the putback. Milwaukee up by 4. Other end, 7 seconds left. Get used to that combination. Westbrook to Beal. Beal for 3. It's good. Wizards down by 1. Stay with the play. I want you to watch what happens on the ensuing inbounds. That's Raul Neto. He's got the steal they need, but the foot is on the line. Take another look at just how close they are to getting the defensive play they need. And so instead, they get this. The Bucs inbounding. It's up and good. This is the Wizards' last chance to win it. The fling, and it's not there. Westbrook would score 29, 17 assists, 12 boards. The Bucs win it 135-134 in a good one. And so here's a look at the Eastern Conference standings, where the Sixers sit atop everybody with a 2-game lead over the Nets. Milwaukee right now, the 3 seed, 3 games back. Our basketball power index gives the Sixers a 95% chance to get the 1 seed. And so here again is Jay Will from KJZ across the hall, ESPN Radio Coast to Coast. So we see the Eastern Conference standings, but I just want you to look at this number. I want everyone to just sort of focus on this for a minute, because we keep talking about the Brooklyn Nets as though they're an unstoppable machine. They have played 7 games together this season. 7. Let's make it clear. James Harden has played more games this year with the Rockets than he has with KD and Kyrie Irving together. Is that no factor? Doesn't that have to matter when we get to the playoffs?
What's KD's number? 7?
I mean,
their whole thing around 7-11, 7's like their special number?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be 7 games going into the playoffs because James Harden is not coming back for the last couple games of the season. I'm not worried about the Nets. I'm not. You know why? I'm not worried about them defensively. Outscore them, Greeny. Outscore Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. 3 of the most prolific scorers we have in the game. They're in the top 10 prolific scorers in the game. Outscore them. Outscore them. I don't think any team in the Eastern Conference is going to outscore them. There is one team, though, that defensively might try to muck it up that can make a difference, and I think that's the 76ers.
All right, so that was going to be my next stop. If indeed you still believe, again, I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around the fact that they will play 7 games together and be the favorites in the conference. Okay. But they are. I accept that, and I don't disagree with you. You're telling me Philly is their biggest opposition?
So there was something that happened the other night, and I know a lot of people at home was like, oh, how are you going to take this quote by this star player and utilize it towards having Philadelphia in the NBA Eastern Conference Championship? But look, I understand that people are going to be complimentary about Kevin Durant, right? But like, this is a game about, I'm trying any way possible, Greeny, to beat you to the white meat. I have to beat you. I have to go through you. When Giannis said, oh, why would I go out Kevin Durant? He's one of the best players of all time. No, I don't want to hear that from you, Giannis. You think Joel Embiid's going to say that about Kevin Durant or James Harden? You think Ben Simmons? Did you hear what Ben Simmons said about the Nets before? I mean, I'm waiting for the 76ers and the Nets to have the rivalry that the NBA needs the Eastern Conference to have. This will be old school Eastern Conference basketball because these 2 teams will end up not liking each other when it's all said and done.
So Mike Breen was on ESPN Radio the other day. He said he could see 3 teams coming out of the East: the Sixers, the Bucks, the Nets. Put them in order as far as likelihood. Give me the order of likelihood you could see of those 3 teams coming out of the East.
Gonna blow your mind right now. I mean, look, I still think the Nets can do it, but I would go 76ers, I would go Nets, then I would go Bucks.
So you're getting the Sixers the nod over the Nets.
I think the Sixers defensively, even though as gifted as the scoring is for the Nets, and I'm a Nets fan, it's different. It's different. If Joel Embiid is playing like Joel Embiid, it's different considering the lack of continuity and familiarity for the Brooklyn Nets.
Now, the Nets have the stars, but maybe the Sixers has the MVP. All right, he is Jay Will, KJZ, coast to coast every morning on ESPN Radio. Thank you, Jay.
You got it, Greeny. Good hands.